My wife and I were evacuated like our third time in 5 years, and we told each other, if this happens one more time, we're at our wits' end. They have us. We're just standing here in our socks, and underwear, and they're coming for it. And if this happens one more time, we're looking at our kids. We got to get out of here.
Right.
We were now figuring out where to go.
Who gave me a podcast? This is Jeff Allen. Welcome to my podcast. Welcome to Who Gave Jeff Allen a Podcast, still the 64th, well, because of inflation, it is now a $122,000 question. Who gave me a podcast? There's 6 billion of you, and we will seek you out and find you, because that is an enigma to everybody in this studio, how I ever got a podcast. I am traveling more than I ever have. Just go to my website, jeffallencomedy.com, and the dates will be up. Sign up on the YouTube channel, because we post those dates weekly. Every week the calendar is updated, and I am busy. So headed your way, so come on out. But today we are talking to owner, chef. Are you a chef owner?
Yeah,
or owner chef?
Chef, either one. I like them both.
Okay, well, which one do you prefer, owner or chef?
Oh, probably chef. Probably chef.
Yeah, we'll get into that. My father was an owner. It didn't end well for him. Rob Lippincott of the White Alligator. I love that. Is there such a thing as a white alligator, an albino gator?
Yeah. So there are actually albino alligators, but our white alligator is leucistic. And the story.
That's a big word.
It's a big word, leucistic.
Carolyn, get the thesaurus. We need to know what leucistic. If you're going to use words like that, this is over.
Well, I'll give you a brief explanation. So this good old boy was in the swamp, 1987, walking around, maybe hunting, fishing, and he came across a nest, a clutch of alligator eggs, and they were hatching. Right, cool enough. All of a sudden, little white alligators started crawling out, and he knew that was special, so he stuffed them in his pockets, left, and he passed them off to his buddies, right? Yeah, oh yeah. The Audubon Institute called...
Like it's a key to an automobile.
Yeah, I know. Here you go. It's white. And the Audubon Institute caught wind, and they had the big Audubon Zoo in New Orleans, and they got a hold of them and said, hey, those are actually kind of special. We're going to compensate you if you can round them all up. And that's what happened. And to this day, there's only about 7 or 8 left. I think there were 13 originally. And I growing up in New Orleans, I saw that all happening and was enamored. And later on in life, when I got into the restaurant world, I thought, man, that'd be a cool name for a spot.
That's great. It's a New Orleans style po' boys. We'll get into that. Gulf Coast seafood and cocktails, known for Creole soul food, fresh daily. That's nice. Not out of a can from Cisco.
Not a thing.
That's good. Rob and your wife, you built a following years ago in Sonoma County, which is wine country, absolutely, at the Parish Cafe, starting from Beignets, my favorite when I go to New Orleans.
Yeah.
I don't get beignets anywhere else but New Orleans.
That's the only place to get them.
That's right, because I've been ripped off more than once. I wanted to walk in the back and tell the guy, take the name beignet off. These are just fried dough with powdered sugar on them. So, in the farmer's market, that's where you started.
That's where I started.
Selling the beignets in the farmer's market. Full restaurant sold in 2021. You moved to Tennessee and launched White Alligator 2023, middle of COVID.
Yep.
Good time to start a good business.
Why not?
Well, at least Tennessee was, with Williamson County, was doable.
Oh, man. Oh,
yeah. We'll get into that. Anyway. Featured on Tennessee Crossroads in July of 2025 as Mama's Recipes, straight from New Orleans. I like that. That's really cool. So anyway, all right, take us to the first kitchen you felt I can build a life with these hands. When did you decide? And what was on the stove and who was in the room?
Well, that would have been in Healdsburg, which is, kind of about 2/3 of the way to this point. But I moved to California. I married my wife at that point, and we've been bouncing around. And she grew up in the wine
from
country.
New Orleans to California.
California.
What brought you to California?
Well, so originally it was fishing. I was a charter boat captain.
Really?
Yeah, and I started that really young. At 21, I had my captain's license, and that's to run what's called the six-pack, which means I could take you up to 6 people out into international waters. And I was doing that, and that was kind of my dream, you know. And that
makes so you obviously you fished as a kid.
Yeah. Grew up. So just growing up down there. My dad's from North Mississippi. My mom's from New Orleans, and I kind of come from this melting pot of city culture and country life, and I like it all, you know. And so we would go fishing all the time. My dad's company, you know, a lot of times you get these sales reps would take my dad out and they say, hey, bring your kid, you know, and I'd be on this charter boat getting seasick, but I loved it. I loved it anyway.
The only time I ever went out.
Yeah. I mean, most people are going to experience it if they go on the ocean and they're not used to it, but I loved it. And, you know, coming up, education wasn't necessarily my strong suit. So I found a way, and I ended up on the water. And after fishing out of Venice, Louisiana, I saw opportunity out west, and I ended up in San Diego one day. And in my very first day in California, I came across this beautiful woman. It was just perfect, and it was for me. It took about a year and a half to convince her that it was such a perfect union.
So she didn't.
I don't know why.
If she was telling me this story, it wouldn't be I laid eyes on the most perfect man.
Probably not.
Probably not.
I was out with a buddy, and we were on skateboards in San Diego. What do? You go to the boardwalk, you cruise around the skateboard. There's so much going on. It was overwhelming for me. I had never even been to California. My first day there, here I am cruising the boardwalk in Pacific Beach, and I fell off my skateboard and busted my knee up pretty bad. And I get back to the house, and there she is. She was a roommate at the house I was crashing at. And she said, oh, what the heck happened to you? And I fell off my skateboard. And so she got some bandages and wrapped me up, and that was it for me.
Right.
Yeah. It was like, you know, you hear the music and the stars.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm sure she just saw some loser on her porch with a bloody knee, but it worked out.
Yeah. Yeah, so in San Diego, when did you start chartering?
So San Diego, I got a gig on a boat in Point Loma, which is kind of down where the harbor is. And I was working on a full-day charter boat, which would take people down to the Coronado Islands.
What were they catching?
Yellowtail, yellowfin tuna, calico bass, depending on the time of year and what the water's
tiny little guppy.
Yeah, no, it was...
Now, did you guys prepare it afterward? Did they take it with them, or did you just catch and release?
Down there, the charter operations down there, it's all about, it's called meat hauling. So these guys are getting on the boat to hopefully bring home meat. And we fillet it for them. The ride back is all about the deckhands. We'd be out there cutting fish.
So you did that since you were a kid?
Yeah.
Got them and cut them.
That was always it.
Yeah, my dad hunted. I spent my childhood gutting rabbits in the winter and pheasant. You know, we had a freezer full of rabbit meat. And,
it's the best.
Yeah. I don't remember it one way or the other being good or not. It's interesting because I haven't had rabbit since I was a kid.
Okay.
But I ate a lot of it growing up, obviously. So you, as a kid, did you come from money? So was the fish important to?
We were comfortable. I'm not going to say we weren't comfortable growing up. We had groceries. I think it was more for sport.
Okay.
But that being said, my father was raised very, very poor, hunting meat was essential.
Right.
Right. And my grandfather was a farmer. He was an educated man, but he had his family land, and he dug in, and he raised everything from, you know, chickens, cows, apples, pears, pecans, and he had a little grocery store in the little town nearby. But the big thing he got into was aquaculture. They had built these reservoirs back in the day, and they had 2 reservoirs that opened up right around their little small county. And he saw a demand for fishing bait for the sport fishermen coming up to fish in these new reservoirs. So he dug ponds and raised minnows. And
wow.
Yeah, so my dad and his brothers grew up seining ponds for minnows, and But my dad will tell you he didn't have running water till he was 7 years old. There was an outhouse, but he went off. And they all these guys, his whole family educated themselves. My dad got into oil and gas in South Louisiana.
Oh, okay.
So we were raised in a pretty substantial, comfortably substantial circumstance. And but hunting and fishing was. Now I have 5 sisters, and so I think that's what the weekends were. Me and my dad trying to get, I think, both of our heads out of that. A lot of estrogen in the house. A lot of estrogen in the house. And
so when you said education wasn't a part, because I was kind of like that. I wanted to play. All I wanted to do was be outside. I'd sit in school and I just would look outside.
Yeah. And
in the winter I played winter sports. The summer I played summer sports, but I was rarely inside.
Yeah.
If I could avoid it. Did you graduate high school?
No.
No, okay. Yeah. That's not unusual, especially I read a book once called The Millionaire Mind, and they interviewed a handful of millionaires, and the average GPA was 2.5 or something, and the only reason it was that high was because they had a couple of doctors in there.
Yeah.
But
I wish I could have had a 2.5.
Well, that was me. I had a tour. I called it 2.0. People thought I was rebooting old material. I said, no, that's my GPA. So, but I understand. It's like...
School is a struggle, man.
Yeah, and I get it, because it's like, I used to ask, why am I here? I mean, every day, why am I here? What am I learning? I used to question it all the time. Why is this relevant to my life?
Yeah.
All of it. I mean, I remember taking a psychology class in high school, and under my breath going, bullshit. Sneeze, bullshit.
Well, you can smell it.
And then I wind up in therapy and going, maybe it's not. Because some psychotic lunatic coming in going, all right, I got it. Okay, maybe I could use this stuff. But to be successful, according to the Millionaire Mind, was basically one thing they all had in common: willing to take a risk.
Yeah.
So the risk, you obviously pursued things you loved.
Yeah.
Which is really important. I mean, you're told my kids forever. If you hate school, try doing a job you hate the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So figure it out.
Right.
And obviously, when you're young, you can chase your passions, because money really isn't the issue. You're chasing your passions.
Yeah.
So you get out to California, started your own charter?
No, I was working for an operation, and it was a good gig. It was at the time, it was good for me because now I had done a few other interesting things. Like I said, I dropped out when I was about 17, and I went to Breckenridge, Colorado. Spent a few years out there.
To ski?
Snowboard.
Oh.
And but I was waiting tables at.
I can hear our skiers that watch this going, it's not skiing.
I was waiting tables at this Mexican restaurant. I had to wear a purple tuxedo shirt and a turquoise cummerbund and a bolo tie.
Okay, so God was just humbling you at a young age.
Oh, man.
That's a stud outfit. I'm sure the chicks were crawling
Boy, they were. And I worked as a lifty during the day to get my lift ticket, and I mean, it was good. I did that for a few winters, and then I'd come back to Louisiana and fish. And
did you stay there for the summer?
For a little bit. I couldn't afford it, to be honest with you. I had to. I was like you said a minute ago. Money it was far from important to me, but I needed it.
Yeah, we all do.
And so I was chasing the dollar, but and then I had a little jaunt out to Hawaii. There was a girl, didn't work out, fortunately. So I ended up. That's when I ended up in California. I was I finally was like, I need to sink my teeth into something. I thought fishing was going to be it, and San Diego created the best opportunity for me.
Okay,
and I would surf. I'd surf, fish, drink beer, surf, fish, drink beer, repeat. Right, and that was pretty good for me at the time. I was 22.
Yeah, it's so interesting to me because I know people whose children are stressed out at 14, 15 because they want to get the right track, they want to get on the right trajectory to whatever their adult life will look like. And then you get people like,
Look, my dad was.
There was no map in my life. It's like, yeah, and it's obvious because I lived in 18 different places and I slept on floors. I slept, under
but
sinks.
it was fine. You were having a good time.
Again, when you do it when you're young.
Yeah.
When I got married, I literally doubled my income the first year I was married. I mean, when my son came to me later in life, he lost his job, and he says, "I'm really scared." I said, "Thank you. I'm glad to hear that because you should be. But here's the good news. Our DNA is wired for panic. Yeah. We do wonderful when our butts are to the wall." And he got a job like 3 days later. But so you're in, Hawaii. We won't talk about that.
Yeah,
it didn't work out.
It's a great place to vacation.
Yeah.
or retire if you can afford it, So California, and then Carl and I decided that we were gonna take this to the next level. We wanted to get married. We moved to New Orleans. She never explored. She never really left California. We moved back to New Orleans, where my family was, and
what year was this?
This was in 2003.
So you getting there ready for Katrina?
Yeah. Well. So we lived there for about 2 years. Meanwhile, my parents had moved overseas. My dad's job took him over there, and we find out that we're going to have a baby. And then we decided to get married. And so we had a pretty quick shotgun wedding. My uncle who was a justice of the peace, arranged it all for us. We had a beautiful ceremony. My Mimi, my grandmother, was there, and one of my sisters. Both my grandmothers were Mimi.
Oh, my wife is a Mimi.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I want to tell the listeners, I have my license to marry people. My sister-in-law wanted me to marry her and her husband for the second time, and she said, "Would you go get a license?" So I signed up online.
That's awesome.
I am now qualified to be I can marry people. So Carolyn, when you meet the next future,
third time's a charm, baby. Third time's a charm.
But I can do it. I'm legal. I'm legally. I don't even know. I wouldn't even begin to know how to do that. I'd have to call in.
I think there's books. There's probably Google.
Well, AI.
AI, definitely.
Yeah. I'll just put it in my ear and I'll just repeat what AI is telling me.
So
you got the baby.
Yeah, we were in New Orleans. We had our son Trey, and who's now a senior in college. He's doing great.
Really?
Yeah, he's doing great.
You don't look that old.
And then we didn't have our support system anymore. We were young and dumb and.
That's redundant, by the way.
Right. But you think you know everything.
Right.
The master of all.
Yeah, I used to say the only thing that exceeded my ignorance was my arrogance. Not a good combination.
Not at all. So we moved to Sonoma County, California, where my wife was originally from.
Oh, she's from there.
Yeah, and we moved into her parents' basement, and I got to know my in-laws really well. And I love them. They're wonderful, and they were another very supportive of me through my idiocy and my figuring it out, grasping that straw is trying to.
That's an anomaly.
Yeah, I know
that the daughter's in-laws.
Well, it wasn't.
Right.
It wasn't instant.
Right.
Wasn't.
Well,
instant.
Of course not.
But I earned their respect over time.
Yeah.
But then, so they had a bakery, a big, beautiful commercial bakery.
Bakery.
Yeah, shout out Costeau Bakery. They have a location where a restaurant and cafe, and you can purchase your bread there. But really, they're a wholesale commercial bakery, and they run bread from San Francisco to Fort Bragg up the coast. And I was in the back making cookies and grumbling and sleeping in the basement and. I knew that was going nowhere, and that was back when you still had to open up the paper and look at the classified ads.
Right.
And I saw an ad for a job.
For my younger listeners, a newspaper used to be. I delivered them when I was a kid.
Yeah,
I got good at.
It's a good gig.
I could toss them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and but you used to get your news in a big sheet of paper, and then the cool thing was learning how to fold it when you were on the subway. Or the L train in Chicago. You had to learn how to fold it so you can read it.
Yeah.
And there was an art to that.
Get under the arm and carry on.
And so anyway, you're looking at the classifieds.
So I saw an ad for a French bistro in the town, and I'd eaten there once, and I thought, this is for me, man. This is it. I had never been a line cook. I'd worked in kitchens before, dishwasher, prep cook, nice guy.
Holy cow. So there's no chefery in your family or?
Home cooks.
Yeah, home
my
cooks.
grandmother, my mother are
Right.
fantastic,
Right.
but no.
Okay.
And I went and I applied for the job, and it was a classic fake it till you make it. And the sous chef looked at me and he goes, "Can you come in tonight?" They were clearly desperate. He said, "Can you come in tonight and you'll work the grill? And if you can do this, then the boss man will talk to you after the shift." So I come in there, they give me a jacket, I put on a jacket, and I got the grill, and I got salmon, lamb chops, and a ribeye. That's all I had to do, right? That's it. Just 2 or 3 of the hardest things to cook perfectly. That everyone's got a specific temperature,
Right.
this and that. Well,
I still haven't figured salmon out because I either dry it out or it's
too rare,
Right.
right? Yeah.
Right.
Well, I did it, and it worked out. I had a blast. I felt confident, and the boss man pulled me aside, and as I guess was tradition for him, he made me a martini. He sat down, he had a martini, and we sat there, and he said, "All right, this is how it's going to go." And he's like, "So how's $10 an hour sound?"
Yeah.
And at the time, it was 50 cents more than I was making.
Yeah.
And I said, "Sounds great."
Yeah.
And that was it. And I
Went home and said, "Baby, we're rich."
I said, "Very rich," and I told my father-in-law, "Suck it." Moving on up.
That's right. Yeah.
No, but that was it. And the owner of that restaurant, Ralph Tingle, became a very good friend of mine. To this day, we're dear friends. But I watched him for about 2.5 years. I watched him as an owner, and I watched the sous chefs kind of come and go. And the next thing you know, I'm in that position. And I was good at it, and I enjoyed it. And I also realized that I'm not making enough money. I'm not, by this time my we're expecting our second child. I said, I love this, but the only guy making money around here is the owner.
Right.
And so I had to figure that out. And for me, that was leaving the restaurant world, kind of giving up and saying, I'm never going to be an owner. So I went and got a job at a winery, which everyone else in Sonoma County did. And I went and worked for Francis Ford Coppola Wine. And I was a maintenance mechanic, the only job I could get. And it was an upgrade. It was $13 an hour.
Right.
But because of the skills I learned in the merchant marine, the fishing trade, I had a little electrical, a little plumbing, a little welding, all the basic mechanical stuff. I got a job as a mechanic helper. And I was walking around the winery in overalls, in cowboy boots. They called me cowboy.
Yeah.
And it was a different world. And I did that for a couple years. Met some of Francis's audiovisual guys, his visual arts team. And they needed a guy like me, kind of a Renaissance sort of character that could to actually hang the light fixtures. And so I started running around with some of Coppola's guys, and that was cool, but it wasn't cutting it. And I met this dude who was from Louisiana. And when we started talking, he goes, "Man, you know what I've always wanted to do? I've always wanted to have a Cajun catering company." And I thought, well, that'd be kind of a good side income. Well, a little lanyap, lanyap in Louisiana is a little extra. I said, yeah, well, let's give it a shot. So we bought some cheap equipment, and we set up, and we had jambalaya and gumbo, and it was cool, right? And people loved it. We had people lining up, and we got a little reputation. But at the end of the day, he wasn't willing to stay up till 2 a.m. washing all the pots.
Right.
And I ended up, I was doing everything. Not to sound whiny, but it was one of those situations where it's like, this partnership ain't working out.
Right.
And so we cut ties, and I kind of gave it up. And my wife, she said, why don't we try beignets? There's no one doing anything like that at the farmers markets. Why don't we try that? And so I had this old 73 Ford pickup, and I bought a portable propane fryer, set it up, and Jeff, the first week we had a line,
absolutely,
like 100 people deep, and it was one of those, like, I get chills thinking about it now. I had all this cash at the end of the day, and I'm looking at my wife, and we're like, oh my gosh, what have we? This is one of those moments you only get a few in life, I think, and we saw it, and instead of just letting it pass us by, we jumped on it and we doubled down, and it became kind of I was still working at the winery, but it became my main focus. And my old man was really excited for us.
Yeah.
And he said, listen, if you ever want to take this to the next level, he said, I can help you out with a little loan. And I'm full transparency. A lot of people are afraid to say things like that. But yeah, my dad helped me out. He helped me with that first step.
Why would you be afraid of that? I've told both my boys that find something you want. I said, we're now in a position to, I told them if you learn a trade and started your own business and ran it with integrity, you'd never have to look for work.
I know.
In construction,
I think it's because coming up in the kitchens, you're around so many people that are all struggling to get there.
Yeah.
And then you meet the restaurant owners, and it's almost every time the restaurant owner, someone in his family helped them out getting there. They either owned the building or they were able to get them a loan. And so
I don't know how this
people are
country got
resentful to
sideways.
that.
I don't know how this country got sideways with that. I understood the term, the Lucky Sperm Club.
Yeah.
They got this, but it's. The world is full of broke trust fund babies who couldn't take what they were given.
Yeah, and there's a lot in Breckenridge, by the way.
It work. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's everybody. Nobody does life alone. Nobody.
Right.
So if your family can't help you, if you're lucky to get a mentor or something, 'cause they're out there.
I know.
I don't know a man that has, certainly self-made man, that doesn't want to reach back and pull up some deserving soul that's willing to work their tail off and get that and then pay it to the next generation.
Yeah.
So no, but you're right that for some reason or another, this culture has, it's all the victims that justify. My father was probably one of the most, a classic underachiever, because it was always somebody else's fault.
Yeah.
I don't have what I have. They have what they have because they're lucky. They got it lucky. No, and it took me years to get that mindset out of my own head that it wasn't in the cards for me. So, no, man, the fact that your old man saw, and again, no father wants to give us a son that isn't willing to work for it. I mean, I wouldn't, know. No, I'm not giving it to you, man. But to see how hard I'm already blown away by how hard you worked.
Well,
and we're not even, how old are you now? 28?
Yeah, 28. Close to a couple decades more.
No, but I'm talking about at this point in the story.
At that point?
Making beignets, how old are you?
Yeah, 27, 28.
Yeah, so that's what I'm kind of doing.
That was...
At 28, I was still just sitting in a room scratching myself, staring at the ceiling, complaining.
And it was a grind. It was a grind. And it was a struggle for my wife and I. And we were working. She was working for her family's business.
Kids.
We had 2 kids.
Right.
We both had full-time jobs, and we were doing this farmers market thing, which at a time we were doing 4 or 5 farmers markets a week.
Wow.
But it just came together. And then when we finally got the ambition to do a restaurant, I was like, well, now I got to find a spot. And we were looking and looking.
This is Sonoma, right?
This is Sonoma. Oh yeah.
Cheap.
I mean, price per square foot, And so there was this old yellow Victorian house just outside of the main part of town. And it was like split up. There was like a real estate office and something else. But then in the bottom, there was this hot dog stand where the dude had a steam table, right? And like not even a Weber, like a real inexpensive barbecue grill out on the porch. He burned the side of the building with it. And he's running this hot dog shop, and it wasn't working. I don't know why. It wasn't working. But so he.
I just want to say this as a hot dog lover. I just want to know that they're being cooked in sanitary conditions. I understand that there's like eyelids in the hot dog.
Sure. Pink meat, whatever they call it. Whatever. It's delicious.
I just want to know that it's sanitary around there.
Well, this may or may not have been.
Right.
So this was the classified ads are antiquated now because I'm on Craigslist. I got the laptop. I'm looking at Craigslist and I see this. Boom! There it is. It's for lease. That space. And so I jumped on it. I met the landlord, a very nice old man who unfortunately during the negotiations of the lease he passed away. And I thought it was a wash. I thought, oh well, there goes my hopes of getting
You're
this
from
spot.
New Orleans, right?
Yeah.
Okay, just accidentally passed away.
I mean, I mean, you know.
It's the story we're telling.
So the guy just disappears, you know. His son and I were real close. Next thing you know,
it just opened up.
so, so I got to know his wife and his son who were taking over the property, and we worked out we negotiated a lease. And that's when I had to go to the old man and be like, hey, all right, this is real. It's happening. And then about 6 months later, we opened. And the building was still split up into 3 units. And we opened up, and within 6 months, the landlord came to me and said, would you like to take over the whole space? Because I think you're going to need the room.
How many tables did you open
initially, we had like 12 tables. We sat about 30.
30?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then we expanded.
How big was your menu?
You know, my menu's very well. So you mentioned your dad did breakfast. We were breakfast and lunch.
Okay.
And we did what we saw. We were in this kind of elevated demographic, the wine country, and breakfast had been overlooked. So I put a Cajun Creole spin on brunch. And so we had a real heavy eggs Benedict menu, but think like whole soft shell crab, eggs Benedicts, you know.
No, where would you get the crab from?
The crab would come ideally from Louisiana, but usually from the Chesapeake Bay, Maryland, Virginia.
Really?
Yeah, beautiful. They come in trays, and they're alive. Their little legs are still kicking around. And, it's just so
Don't
so
email
good.
us, all right?
So good, so fresh, so delicious. And then for lunch, we would do the classic New Orleans po' boy sandwiches.
Now, what's a po' boy? Because I know the name.
Yeah.
I don't know what's in a po' boy. Yeah. I've eaten them and I love them.
So real quick, during the Depression-ish, there was a streetcar strike. The streetcars in New Orleans are kind of like the trolleys in San Francisco. That's our transportation. And there was a streetcar operator strike. And the dudes were lined up. They're broke. They're hungry. And they happened to be striking in front of this bakery, right? And this guy was like, he was one of them. He felt for the working man. So, you know, bread's cheap. So he had all these big loaves of French bread. And at the time, seafood, shrimp, oysters, that was cheap. It was
plentiful.
It was, and it was looked down on as food to eat. It was not a luxury. If no one ate oysters back then. They're bottom feeders, shellfish. So he stuffed this French bread full of fried seafood, and walked around and handed it out to the poor boys in the picket line.
Oh, okay.
And so that's where the term poor boy came from.
Oh, okay.
So that's what we serve: traditional po' boys, fried seafood, French bread, or the roast beef, ham and cheese.
Now, you had a bakery because your father-in-law.
So the bread that we use in New Orleans is very specific. And I couldn't get it anywhere. But I went to my father-in-law. I said, you got to help me out, man. We got to. And they looked down on that bread. California, it's sourdough, man. It's all of it. Sourdough, ciabatta, like nice. It's beautiful. But
it surprises me that there would be a place in California that would look down on the rest of us. It really does.
Right? It was weird. So I'm still trying to figure that out.
I am too, right? How unlucky are you? To meet the only people in California that would look down upon your po' boy sandwich. Yeah.
People, funny. People told me, they said, "Oh, Rob, bless your heart. This is the wine country. No one's going to eat fried food. This is not going to work. People don't eat fried food here. Like, surprise, surprise. Everybody eats fried food.
Because it's damn good.
It's damn good, man.
That's it. As somebody once said, he goes, I tried the low-fat diet, and all I learned was fat tastes good. So, and to me, a sandwich, if you don't have good bread, doesn't matter what you put in it.
That's right.
It really doesn't.
That's right.
And when I first got to Nashville 27 years ago, you couldn't find decent bread. I mean, Panera was it, and that's a weak.
There's still a light bakery culture here. You don't have the corner bakeries.
No, in the delis. Yeah. There was. I remember I had a manager when I first moved here. He was around the corner from Nashville, and Nashville at that time was owned by a guy from New York, and it was. I remember bringing my kids in, and they wouldn't eat potato pancakes, and I said, "You have to." son, just try them. Believe me, you're going to love them.
Yeah.
Try to explain to them, French fries or potatoes. You love those.
Yeah.
But potato pancake, and the owner was sitting behind us, and he was listening to it. He walked over and he told my sons, I will personally make you potato pancakes, and if you don't like them, your daddy doesn't have to pay.
Wow.
And they scuffed them right up with applesauce, sour cream. And, it was just, but anyway, they moved. And again, it's like so many places who want to expand. Once they expand, if the original doesn't follow them, and it didn't to me anyway. And if you're from Nashville and you think you disagree, put it in the comments, and Carolyn will respond, because I just don't care. But yeah, it lost it for me. I mean, but for a while there, Nashville had an actual real deli, and it was a real treat. I mean, I live 40 minutes from there, and I would drive down there just to get a corned beef.
Yeah, man. I tell you what, man, a hot corned beef on rye, Swiss.
Yeah,
I'm sold.
Yeah, absolutely. So anyway, you've convinced that Sonoma Valley clogging their arteries is actually it's worth.
It was worth it.
It was worth it.
And so with my father-in-law's help, we created the perfect po' boy bread, very authentic to the bread baked in Louisiana, and it was rolling. And that was 2012 at this point that we opened the restaurant. And by 2017, I expanded and opened my second location in Santa Rosa. We were in Healdsburg. Shout out Healdsburg. And then we moved to Santa Rosa, downtown, right on the main drag. And everything was going great. And then by about 2019, we were in the black, man. It was people we had established. And then the news comes on and says, hey, there's this thing, this virus. Don't worry.
Right.
Don't worry. We got it under control.
Right. Yeah. We're going to 8 days to flatten the curve.
Yeah, flatten the curve.
We were all there.
Yeah, we were there. And
it's funny now.
Yeah, pretty funny. And meanwhile, there was, the chaos came out, and then there was the George Floyd and for better or worse,
it was all this convergence.
Oh my gosh, all at once.
Yeah.
And here we were just trying to raise kids, having our business, and we were in the absolute worst place you could be governmentally to have a small business, particularly a restaurant.
Right.
And then they said, well, we're not going to shut you down yet, but we got a lot of rules, and then all of a sudden I've got people protesting and windows are getting shattered. And this is in our Santa Rosa spot. So I go, put up the plywood, we're shutting that one down.
Really?
And then,
all because you just wanted to run your business.
I just wanted to run a business
and leave.
Pay my bills, pay my taxes,
Right.
feed my kids.
Right, and let the other people decide if they want to go out and eat.
Yeah,
you want to hole up in a bunker, in a bunker for gosh sakes, but leave the rest of us alone.
Yeah, and then they say, well, we're going to shut you down. It's only going to be for a little while.
Right.
A little while, like 6 months later.
Yeah. Yeah, I was off work for 5 months.
6 months later, 20 pounds later.
Yeah.
They say, well, you can open, but take out only. Okay, well, I'm doing eggs Benedict. Mimosas.
Well, hey, McDonald's has no trouble with takeout,
Yeah, right. Can't you guys figure it out?
Can't you get a drive-through,
And that was it. Meanwhile, where we were in Northern California, it was also burning.
Right.
Because they neglected forest management, which is a thing.
I know, apparently.
Weird.
Yeah, I know.
Wood burns.
Yeah.
And so
Who knew?
So we've been evacuated. Like my wife and I say, in 5 years, we had 3 major evacuations where we had to pack up and leave town. One of them, the National Guard came in. I mean, I kid you not. For 10 days, you're not allowed.
I thought California was adverse to the National Guard.
Well, not when they're on fire.
Again, don't email me. All right.
So my wife and I were evacuated like our 3rd time in 5 years, and we told each other, if this happens one more time, we're at our wits' end. They have us. We're just standing here in our socks.
Yeah.
In underwear, and they're coming for it. And if this happens one more time, we're looking at our kids. We got to get out of here.
Right.
What are we doing this for?
Right. Well, I can go back to the 90s when I lived in Phoenix, and I got paired up golfing with many business owners, restaurant owners from California that moved to Arizona because of one last regulation. And the one that got me was they made me put a $35,000 filter on my chimney for my hamburger smoke. And he goes, you know how many hamburgers I got to sell to make up the $35K for a stupid filter that up until now, nobody was complaining about.
Yeah.
Nobody.
Yeah, yeah.
Nobody was walking around looking at the smog in California thinking, it's those hamburger grillers. That's what's torching this planet.
That's right.
Nobody. So anyway, that was like one, a many I ran into.
Oh, yeah,
and that was the 90s.
But there's a guy that invented this filter.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
He's got some friends. I'm sure he had some friends.
Absolutely.
And that's unfortunately that it's all more than been exposed to me. I get it. We got out of there and we were now figuring out where to go. Going back to New Orleans was definitely on top of the list, but
how'd your family fare during Katrina?
So
were they out?
So my parents were living overseas. Carl and I moved out. We moved in November of 04, and Katrina was September of 05. So we dodged that bullet. My poor Mimi was still there. And the part of town she was in, her house was under 15 feet of water for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a normal flood where the water comes and goes, which is bad enough. Yeah. It was a pond. It just filled up, and the water had nowhere to go, and the pump stopped running.
Wow.
So, man, that was rough. I went back to help out. I met my parents came into town, and some of my good friends. We all met. I remember, this is 2 weeks later, cleaning out the freezers. Yeah. I mean, everything.
Well, our church up here that I went to sent stuff down to Katrina victims for 2 years.
Yeah.
That's how long. Again, Hollywood comes in, they do their photo ops, and they leave.
Yeah.
But the mess and the lives that were destroyed went on for years.
Seeing the images of people that had chopped holes through their roofs with axes, and just to get
above the
water,
right,
and being stranded there for days. Yeah. I mean, there's the documentary. I don't know if you've seen it. It's out now on Netflix, which I think Spike Lee did it. Very, very good. And for me, I don't even watch it. You start watching, and I wasn't even there.
Right, but you knew the area.
Oh man, the people I knew and loved that were so affected. I mean, not everyone made it out. The PTSD, I think that was caused from that. The suicide, like every family I know was affected dramatically by Katrina and what it did.
Yeah, tragedy. I mean, it's how many people my generation were raised by parents who were born during the Depression. And it affected the way they handled money, the way they lived their lives, the way, and they passed that on to their children.
You don't know any pack rats, do you?
Oh, I know a few. Yeah, Tammy and I had our own discussions, and she wasn't raised in the Depression. She just has a hard time. We just had a flood in our basement.
Oh, man.
And it was actually the biggest blessing we've ever had.
The cleanse.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. We were hauling off. I mean, my truck was full of stuff. I told her, if I haven't used it, seen it, or touched it in 5 years, it's out of here.
And 5 years is generous.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It was a pile of stuff.
But there's a mindset, and we all get that. I think, like, I'm a Gen Zer. There's a definite mindset that I grew up with. We were talking earlier before the show, I think, about the kids and getting outside. And being inside was the last thing I wanted to do when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I was growing up in the 80s when video games were kind of starting, and a lot of my friends were that. I was not interested in that at all.
Can you call Pong a video game, actually?
I remember when it came out. It's on the screen.
I mean, that's what kind of soured me. Because again, I remember the Pong thing, and I have severe attention issues. So, bink, bink. I can't even play Hold'em. My nephew, we were playing Hold'em at a family reunion once, and we always threw $20 in.
Yeah.
I started going all in on every hand, and my nephew's going, "What are you doing, man?"
What are you doing?
I'm in or out. I'm done. I can't take this.
Yeah, can we just play poker?
Yeah, right, exactly. Something, I don't know. But the tragedies that we live with, I grew up with tornadoes, and fortunately, our house survived where neighbors didn't.
Yeah.
And then the guilt or the question, we weren't believers back then. So again, the ability to at least lean into your faith and understand in the midst of a tragedy, there may be some, God uses all for good. At some point, I'll look back on this and think, okay, maybe it was a blessing. We just interviewed the guy with the motorcycle accident whose leg flew over his head.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah, no, God, and he looks at it today as the greatest gift God ever gave him because it woke him up. I mean, and brought him to his childhood faith. So you're looking at New Orleans, you're looking Texas probably because you're in California. You're thinking,
there were all kinds of.
Florida,
we look at a lot
Florida
of
was
places.
great during COVID.
It was,
Yeah.
And as a fisherman, I thought Florida might be nice, but my sister, who was in Seattle, and they were leaving for similar reasons as us. She and her family, they said, "Hey, we found this great little area in Williamson County that we really like, and we're going to go look. And we heard you and Carla were thinking of moving." I said, "Yeah, we are." So I met with my brother-in-law and came down and tooled around. And I've got 2 cousins that live here. First cousins, which is a little bit closer than
Around here, that's Marion.
That's Marion. I know. Well, they're musicians and they're very successful.
I started looking to breathe.
Yeah, I mean they're boys, but
Well, it is the 21st.
Yeah.
century.
So we came down and just spent some time, and meanwhile, this is kind of the tail end of COVID, where California is still locked down. And I'm on Broadway in a honky tonk, dancing, having a good time with all these people doing the same thing. And we're like 2 feet from each other.
Yeah.
And everyone was alive. And it was fine. And the wool was just already kind of pulled up.
Isn't that, though, that freedom? I remember in the midst of all of this, my manager went down to Florida and sent a picture of him, a selfie, in a crowded bar in Florida. He goes, "I never thought, that this would be something in the United States.
Well,
That just to be able to be out and with other people and drinking."
They had us thinking, at least in California, they had us thinking that we may never go back to normal.
Right.
And I think a lot of them over there still wish it was that way, personally.
Oh, absolutely.
So
I still see people at the airport wearing the plastic shield.
you see the dude outside with the mask on it, and my heart just goes out for him.
Well, absolutely. If you really want to me, I want to mock them, but it's
I know,
but you're right. It is sad when you really sit down and think how sad. I mean, I got yelled at in California, in Pasadena, in 2021, standing outside waiting to cross the street by myself by a guy on a motorcycle, not wearing a helmet but wearing a mask on a motorcycle. Put your mask on, you're killing people. Apparently I wiped out the whole city of Pasadena because nobody's out. I mean, but it is. You're really right to look at it. It is sad.
Yeah,
it is.
So we had so much fun. We saw ourselves here. The schools are fantastic, and all of our kids at the time were either in grade school or junior high.
So public
school.
Okay.
They were in private school in California because there's not a lot of options out there. So we had them in private Catholic school in California, which was a blessing because they had such a good foundation.
Yeah,
having that growing up, not only with scholastically, but with their faith, which is important to my wife and I. And, I remember I went through I was raised Catholic, really very into my faith. And then at about 17, and maybe it was because I'd become disenfranchised just in general with everything. I saw how hard life is. I'd failed at school. At that point,
what was the conversation with your parents like when you said
I
you were
really
gonna
let my
drop
parents down. I could tell you that.
Yeah.
And my dad tried everything. My parents tried everything. We tried the boarding school. I went to 5 high schools, in 4 years. They tried everything. But at that point, I kept telling them, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. Here I am. I'm 17 and I'm still in freshman math. It's like, this isn't going to work, guys. And then my father finally said, well, the community college in New Orleans, Delgado, has a GED program. Actually, this was Loyola University. They have a city college. And he said, they have a GED program. He's like, if you do that, if you will do that, then we will, we'll move on from this. And so I did. I got into the GED program, got my high school equivalency.
Oh, okay.
And then I actually did a few courses at the community college which
So you've never really even taken a business class, and you're terrible in math. We already discussed that.
that's a fact. But they have calculators.
But they do, and they have computers. that could do,
I know.
Now let me ask you this: can you do Excel? Because I've been working on Excel for a decade. I can't figure.
You know, I can do it with the. I have to ask my wife a few questions.
Yeah.
You know, it's control what.
Right. Once somebody sets up the spreadsheet, I can put the numbers in. I just don't know how to set up the spreadsheet.
Tab. Yeah,
exactly.
But so no, I'm not qualified in Excel.
Oh, okay.
But you know, I like anybody. If I have instructions, I can figure something out.
Right.
You know, but my parents were let down.
Yeah.
And my dad.
Now you have other siblings?
I have 5 sisters. Yeah,
I was the only boy.
Only boy, and I was the second eldest, second in
Yeah,
line.
what a disappointment you turned out to be.
Oh my God! And my sisters are all overachievers, right? They've all done very well.
I had a sister like that. And I had the teachers because we were a small town. So why can't you be like your sister Vicky?
Man.
Why can't you be like Lori? You're such a handful.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because I'm not them, you stupid idiot. Leave me alone. You know?
I mean, I'm from a different planet than my sisters.
I got headbutted by a teacher once. So leave me alone.
You must have said something that really made
I was
me
laughing
mad.
at her while she was shaking me, and she finally had it.
She headbutted you.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. I won't mention her name because her family would probably sue me, but I'm sure she's moved. At my age, she's gone.
Yeah.
But
So-
school and I didn't.
But you know, and then here I am a parent, and fortunately, my 3 children have been pretty good in school. They've done pretty well.
Well, it's in the DNA, obviously. Your sisters are wonderful.
There's brains, yeah. There's brains there, and my wife was a good student, and she did well in academics, but not me, not me. The school of life, but that's hard.
So God gave you this woman that not only gave you children, but she also probably helped you with your business.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And supported you and encouraged you.
She's hands down.
That's a good mate that God put in your life.
I would probably still be trying to.
I don't know where I'd be.
I'd be clawing at it if I hadn't met Carl.
I don't know where I'd be if Tammy didn't shake me in the 90s and just go, stop doing this.
Well, I know that a lot of my friends did not make it.
Yeah.
You know, back then, people that was not everyone made it.
Yeah.
So the fact that I'm still here and sitting here with you,
Never had a problem with drugs, alcohol. Did you inhale? Or did you just toke on a weed, never inhale?
No,
like a former president of ours.
I probably inhaled a couple times.
Oh, okay.
I was definitely experimental, I'd say. There isn't much out there I wasn't curious about.
Right.
But nothing, fortunately,
Right.
nothing stuck.
Yeah, to me, it's drug addicts will almost to all of us. Addicts will say that first whatever, and then you spend the rest of your life chasing it until it destroys your life. For those lucky ones that do it and go, I don't know what the big deal is about. I knew friends that did cocaine and went, I don't get it. It just makes me edgy and not nice to be around.
It's that one in particular. To say I never did it would be a lie, but it was never something I. And then it's unfortunate that there are still people that, like you said, they just can't stop chasing it.
Yeah, in the restaurant business, obviously you're working 80 hours a week.
That's a gentle one in the restaurant
Adderall
business.
Yeah, it's a labor of love. My dad, we talked off air about it. My father had a breakfast place. He had an original place in Chicago. Talk about partners. He walks in one night, his restaurant's supposed to be open. He was doing the morning breakfast and lunch, and the guy partner was doing dinner, closing up. And he decided to go out one night to grab a bite at his restaurant, and it's closed up. And this guy's got a poker game going in the back. And he found out that's just about every night. He'd shut it down about 7 o'clock. It's supposed to be open till 10, and couldn't understand why the receipts were down.
You've got to keep the lights on.
I know, exactly. Exactly. So anyway, that went belly up, and he decided the next time he would open his own, and he borrowed money from friends, and ended up, that weighed on him the rest of his adult life. He couldn't pay back.
Yeah.
One of his closest friends who gave him some cash to get in, and
I've borrowed money from friends, and fortunately we're able to make it right, but I don't recommend it if you can avoid it.
I highly, they have banks for a reason, and
and I've worked with the SBA
they should
too.
have to take a risk.
Yeah,
they should.
But the SBA doesn't take risk. They'll hold you to it. But the SBA is there, and I think people shouldn't be afraid to borrow money. I know there's a mindset out there, live debt free, and I love that. I love that idea. But in the small business world, that's not a reality. It's just not. I don't. There are very few people that can just take money out of their pocket, open up a business, and
absolutely.
So.
And there's setups for win-win.
Yeah,
people that loan money, they want to win. They're not going to throw good money after a bad idea.
Right.
But if I look at your life, if I was in a position at how hard you've worked from the time you were 17 years old, to me that says everything. I mean, this guy's going to bust his behind to make this thing work. And that's all you want, is somebody who's willing to put in the hours and the effort and all that other stuff,
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And so here we are. We're in Franklin.
I'll adopt you, by the way.
Okay.
I'm trying to get my youngest son to speak to me. If he will, then I'll get rid of you. But for now.
Yeah. Well, so
I don't have any money, by the way.
Yeah, that's all right. Most people don't. No. We opened the White Alligator. We got here, we got settled, and that was my time to, we sold the business. We cashed out of California.
So now let me ask you this. Franklin, not exactly cheap real estate.
No.
But compared to Sonoma County, did you look and go, holy cow? And then the fact there's no state income tax here.
Bingo. That's huge. And the property taxes here. To be a homeowner here is so much different. And it's still a far reach
Take
for
a zero
people.
off basically. Yeah.
It's wild. I tell people what I paid for my property tax, and it's like a year's mortgage for some people here.
Right.
Just a month of property tax in California.
Absolutely.
That's another thing. Tennessee is giving us an opportunity to make it.
And to breathe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
California was just a rat race. Here we are, we have 2 restaurants, this thriving business, and there was nothing left over.
Well, the way I look at it, and again, I'm not a bright guy, but it seems to me that the government in California is an adversarial relationship with business.
Bingo. Yeah.
It just doesn't seem like they're doing everything they can to make the businesses successful.
And why?
And I don't even get it. Because that brings in revenue, it hires employees. I mean, all the stuff that the good and positive that goes into it.
Unless there's something nefarious, and I hate to think that, but I can't find another reason.
Well,
why are they doing this to themselves?
I don't. Now, we elected a governor here, Bill Lee, who owns a business.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't he be friendly? And then you look at our current president, who's a businessman, and he gets out there and he goes, holy cow.
Yeah. Meanwhile, half of Congress has never even had a job.
Well, that's the point. And then that creates the adversarial side of it. But government can, if they would just get out of the way and let entrepreneurs be entrepreneurs and hire people and create a tax revenue and a base. What I love about here was when we first moved here, they tried to pass a state income tax more than once. And the local talk radio guys had their listeners go down to the state capitol. They tried it once at 2 a.m, and people were out there honking their horns.
Wow.
Bringing attention to the fact that their government was behind closed doors trying to do something that obviously hasn't been necessary for 20 whatever years.
Look how well Tennessee's doing.
Right.
Thriving.
Right.
Low property tax, no income tax.
Well, Bill Lee came out the other day and said to the New Yorkers after the mayoral election, hey, anybody who wants to move here, we're open for business.
Yeah.
We will. We'll take your money and we'll let you just thrive.
Yeah, I'm frightened by that. I'm frightened by that dude up there. I'm not afraid to admit it. That's something.
Well, I'm frightened more by the collective.
Yeah, that's what I
he
mean. The
doesn't
movement.
bother me. It's just a classic despot wannabe, but it's the mindset below it, the generation below that thinks that this is a viable way to run a country. And again, I love the communists who say, well, it just wasn't done right.
Yeah.
It's like the husband that beats his wife and just goes, if she would just, and goes on to the next one and goes, this one's the same as the other.
Yeah.
Next one, this one, and I just can't find the right woman.
Yeah.
No, you're the a-hole in all of this. And
No, this time they've got socialism figured out. It's going to work great.
well, yeah, and
But what makes me saddest about it is the American dream, that classic, like you can do it.
right.
If you just work hard enough, if you just have a good enough idea, anyone can do it. And that is still alive and well.
It
But they
is.
don't want you to know it.
Well, that's the point. It's just getting the information out.
Yeah.
And you have been here since 2023.
2023.
And-
Restaurant will be open 2 years, December 8th. This is
Really?
coming up in a
Doing
couple
well?
weeks. Doing great.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I think I walked by it. I did a show at the factory, and we were looking for a place to eat. And I love jambalaya.
yeah,
So
we
you
got
have
it.
that on the menu?
Yeah.
Okay. Beignets?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you got to have
I mean, that's where it all began.
So what time do you open on a Saturday?
11 a.m. Yeah, we're open 11 to 9.
So I can't get beignets at 8 in the morning?
Unfortunately, not at this joint. That not to say in the future there won't be an opportunity.
I think you should just open up for beignets from 8 to 11.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
This is what I need. I need good ideas.
I'm telling you, man. You open up to 8 to 9. You'd have a line around the block
Did she?
for hot, fresh beignets. Are you kidding me? I would get out of bed early. Take my cold plunge on Nordic Wave, by the way. I would cold plunge and I would head out to get a beignet.
Yeah.
Yes, I would.
Did Carolyn tell you about her catfish experience?
No, did you?
When we did that show in the Franklin Theater,
Yeah.
we were there for 3 days.
Yeah.
Every night, I got the catfish from White Alligator.
I had no. We
didn't
had
tell
no
me
idea.
that.
Yeah.
It was so good.
Oh,
Yeah.
must have. I hope it was. You're not torturing yourself. I'm eating bad food because I'm a bad person.
It was so, and I think it had like hush puppies or something.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, we got to have
Yeah,
hush puppies.
yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
God.
Oh, my gosh.
It was, I mean, next level.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was crazy. Yeah.
that's great. So you're the head chef?
Yeah. So I mean, officially, yes, but I've got to. I'm not.
You
You're
get
not.
to wear the white coat.
Well, you're not going to find me in the kitchen anymore, per se. I run the kitchen. I manage the kitchen. My wife is definitely a better operations person than me. You know, she grew up with the family having the business and the cafe and the bakery, and I was digging holes in the backyard, you know, looking for china. I think.
We did that?
Yeah.
Yes.
If you just keep digging.
Yeah. I ran into my father's vodka.
Clink. Yeah. And so I run the back house more. And like a couple of days ago, I was on the floor trying to fix a thermocouple on a 6-burner
See, that
range.
helps, too, that you could save.
I still listen. That dude will show up. He'll be like, "So the part's $25, and here's your bill, $880."
Right.
I'm like, well, I get.
That's that classic. If you think an education is expensive, try ignorance.
Yeah, look.
And that's where, because my wife does everything mechanically.
Yeah.
She used to get so mad at me. She didn't realize that I felt emasculated when my wife is doing all the, and again, I know it's cliche. It's, it's what I am. I'm born in 1956. Leave me alone. But I felt emasculated because my wife did all the mechanical work. So I would hire people.
Yeah.
And she was, why are you hiring some? I could have done that. Then I go, because I work and I can pay for this and I'm paying for it.
Yeah. Well, I do my best, but sometimes I have to end up calling the guy. And you call the guy and he shows up and he gets it fixed and you get the bill. I'm like, man, I understand, and I'm all for the trades. I'm pro blue collar, pro trades, but no wonder these guys are making so much money.
Well, here's the funny story. It was during Obamacare in 2008. I remember the argument. I was listening to some radio station, and some doctor called in, and he said, I had to remove a chicken bone from a guy's I had to do emergency tracheotomy and get this bone out of his throat. He said, Medicare paid me $250 to get a bone out of his throat. My gutters clogged up over the weekend. I get $1,200 to get my gutters unclogged. Yeah. And he said, I'm not begrudging the guy making the 12, but I'm going to tell you, it takes a lot more schooling and skill to get a bone out of a guy's neck.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, I mean, it's.
And again, good for them, but there's no wonder this guy's got the ski boat and the vacation house.
Right.
And especially in the corporate world, most especially these big chains, they just write checks, right?
Yeah.
There's no real oversight on that kind of thing. So the industry has been taken advantage of, I think, a little bit. But I try to do it all myself as much as I want. But real quick, you were talking about something that just got me thinking. It infuriates me. You go to the doctor. We carry private insurance. I go to the doctor, and every once in a while I'll say, what's the if I just pay cash for this, what would that cost?
Yeah, I do that.
And he's like, oh, it's $200. Well, then how come you charge the insurance company $12?
Right, because there's all the people getting free.
So,
But I learned that with my meniscus tear. I had a $5,000 deductible, and they were going to charge. He told me. He said, "Where are you at on your deductible?" I said, "Nowhere." I said, "I still owe $5,000." He goes, "Well, I'm going to bill the insurance company $3,500, which you're going to pay, or I'll do it for $2,000 cash."
Yeah.
And I went, "Okay," and I wrote him a check for $2,000.
Yeah. Well,
and to me, that's a guy doing business,
at least
because he doesn't want to deal with the paperwork.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to deal with all the garbage and all the.
He's being honest with you.
The refusing of coverage and all the stuff that goes in this. I had a friend of mine whose daughter had a job of writing insurance claims. She worked for an insurance company. She knew how to write them so they got picked up and covered.
Yeah.
They started refusing claims from her for no other reason than the fact that she wrote them properly. It was like, I mean, it's
she wanted to sleep at night.
Again, they I am the perfect customer for them because I don't have the wherewithal, a tenacity, or the desire to keep pushing to save any money.
Yeah.
I just acquiesce and cave. My wife, on the other hand, spent 4 hours on the telephone with Dish Network trying to get a free DVR. Because her complaint was, "What do you mean? If I'm a new customer, you give me a free DVR, but the fact that we've been with you for 12 years, we get nothing?
Yeah.
That ain't right.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
want to talk to somebody." And I heard her on the phone.
Yeah.
"Guys," she goes, "I can't understand a word you're saying. Where are you at?" And he goes, "You're not in Denver." And then she goes, "Would that be Denver, Minnesota?" And she finally got somebody at corporate in Denver.
Yeah.
And the woman goes, "You're impressive. To get to me, that's impressive." And she said, "What do you want?" She goes, "I want a free DVR like everybody else. I've been with you for 12 years.
I've paid you a lot of
Right.
money.
What do I get?
And I'm getting nothing.
And you want to charge me for the new upgraded DVR?"
Right.
Not happening. So anyway.
Good for her.
Yeah, she did. And actually, the woman gave her number and said, "Any complaints going forward?" She said, "Yeah." And again, I loved what she said. To get to me, for me to pick up the phone on this call, you had to do
That's good.
4 hours.
That must have felt pretty good though to get that acknowledgement.
Yeah, and that was our favorite DVR.
It's like climbing El Capitan. Look what you just did.
Absolutely.
You made it to corporate.
Yeah. So my wife is tenacious. I'm not. So God gives us, fills in the gaps with our ladies.
Yeah. If I could say one thing, I touched this on a minute ago. I was about 17, and I became pretty disenfranchised with everything, including my faith. And I remember being in the back seat. I was with my dad and one of his brothers, and we're driving down the road, and it was Sunday, and they had gone to church and I didn't. And they were talking, and they asked me, and they were very listen. One thing I'll say is my folks never pressured me. They just said, "Hey, man, that's one thing. You're at that point in life where we can't make you do anything."
Right. That's a conversation I had with my sons. Yeah.
And I remember telling them, I said, I get it. The Bible's a good, you've heard this before. It's a good analogy for living right.
It's a good guide.
It's a good guide, but that's what it is.
Right.
And I remember thinking that, and I'd convinced myself that was the case. And then I have an uncle who passed away recently, and he was my godfather and very spiritual. He was a Marine, and he was he was the guy that he was having all the sisters and my dad being busy with that. When my dad wasn't there, because he had 5 other kids to deal with, my Uncle Bobby was there for me. And I get emotional thinking about him. And I got confirmed in the Catholic Church late. I missed out on that when I was younger because it was done through the schools, and I wasn't going to school very much. Yeah. So I got confirmed, and a little later in life, and he was my sponsor, and he brought me back in, and I don't say I ever lost my faith. I never was a non-believer. I always knew there was something. I was more agnostic than anything.
Right.
But he helped me come back, and then my wife and I together, when we started our family, that's when it really anchored back in. And
it's a great foundation, though. I mean, it really is. I mean,
I'm just so grateful that, you know, I was never truly lost.
Right, and also grateful that you had people in your life that loved you enough to lean into you, to keep nudging.
I still do,
and let God do His work, let the Holy Spirit do their work. You know, but a lot of parents, you know, and I feel bad because my kids, I was kind of like that with my kids. I mean, I was raised, but my mother took us to church 8 or 9 years old, and I complained one Sunday, and my father said, "That's it. He doesn't have to go anymore." So he said to me, you make the decision at 9.
I'm not dragging you out of bed anymore.
Right, exactly. And my father was dragged to church against his will. So that was something that was he was adamant about. He didn't believe in God, you know. I would push back on that assessment. I think that something bad happened to him at church, and he turned his back on the Christians, and not being able to have it explained to him that Christ is not the Christian.
Yeah.
You know, we try to wear it, but don't look at me.
Yeah.
And hold Christ accountable for me and my behavior and the way I live my life. Lean into Christ, and He will reveal Himself to you in a way, and it'll be unique to you in that walk. I just think that's so impressive that most young men walk away. I mean, I can't imagine it. I run into very few guys that said I was born and raised in the church and I've never left.
Yeah.
Most of them say I was born and raised in the church. I got to my teen years. And again, that's, you know, maybe the Amish have it right. Go sow your oats, and then if you return, that's great. If you don't, you know, good luck. You know, and but go out and see what the world has to offer. But especially raising a family will get your attention, because that foundation is so important. You know, I baptized my granddaughter in June, and we're hoping that just through that baptism that she reminds her father, my son, of the way he was on fire for the faith. I mean, he really was. He was all in for Jesus back when he was a kid, then lost a friend to tragedy and blamed God for it. And I always find it interesting that people that turn their back on God over a tragedy, and other people find God through tragedy in the midst of all that pain and suffering. They find that peace and comfort that comes from that relationship. So anyway, that's enough preaching here, but it is to have somebody like that, and I could see why you'd get emotional over that.
It was boy, I'm so blessed.
Yeah,
and
then have a wife that walks with you.
She's the greatest thing that I can't give Carla enough credit for sticking by me, and we help each other.
Yeah,
we were definitely we were cut from similar cloth.
Yeah,
but
and your son's in college?
Yeah, my son.
College is he?
He's at Mississippi State.
Oh my gosh, I got a friend that plays golf from them.
So my father and 3 of my sisters are alumni of Mississippi State, and so my son followed them. My daughter is a freshman at Ole Miss, and she's a Kappa Kappa Gamma girl.
Oh my God!
And she's like, but they're very different. My son and my
divided household.
Oh boy, I got socks.
Especially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yesterday was interesting. College football is a pretty big deal in the SEC.
Right. Snobs, actually. We're Ohio State fans.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you're lucky. It's a blessed year for you.
Yes, it is. Well, thank you. That's so odd coming from an SEC family.
I'm just trying to keep
I don't think you believe
good.
it. I don't believe the word you just came out of your mouth.
We'll see. I mean, there's a playoff. We'll see how it goes. How about Vandy?
Yeah.
I mean, they ranked 7 now?
Yeah, it's unbelievable for an educational institution, because they were normally, basically Vandy's football team would stand on the side. Let's do our SATs and see where we fit.
Well, the NIL made a big difference.
Yeah.
Being able to pay these kids now. Schools like Vandy, I guess they have some cash. I don't know.
And a lot of cash.
Yeah.
Very funny story. I did a show for the chancellor of Vanderbilt University. It was a fundraiser at his house, at the mansion. And you pull up to the mansion and you go, well, no wonder education's so high. Does the president really need a mansion, to live in? We had a 96 Ford Escort teal green wagon, and it was valet.
I remember those, the
Yeah.
hatchback?
Right.
Oh, yeah.
So I came out to get my car, and I said, I got that. And they go, yeah, we've been talking about it. It's the only time valet gave me $5. You know, said, man, you need to get a new vehicle. But we're not educated, my wife and I, by any stretch of the imagination. We everything we did or learned was by the seat of our pants and through making mistakes. It sounds to me like, obviously, I can't imagine you living a mistake-free life, but in your restaurant business, it seems to me that God has really blessed you. I mean, from the moment, let's sell beignets, just making that decision and then being moved into this cuisine. Because, again, you weren't raised in a chef family or,
No. But, I believe that the earth, this is going to sound corny, but I believe that the earth, like there's a soul there, everything's part of it, right? Everything's part of this beautiful existence. The city of New Orleans has a soul, and it has never turned its back on me. And I've been mugged, right? I could be disenfranchised by that. I could be angry at it, but it has stayed with me and protected me and taken care of me. It's still taking care of me via, California and now in Tennessee. New Orleans is still there with me. And
well, it's such a distinct connection with food.
Yeah, for sure.
As you say, I cook Cajun, I cook New Orleans. Everybody knows.
Yeah, it's just in me. I left New Orleans in 2004, but it's just a part of me. It's rooted deep in me.
That's what I feel about Chicago.
Yeah.
Deep dish pizza. And I have the argument all the time. And we go to Desano's and Bellevue, which is Italian. It's that really thin, cooked in a wood fire and stuff. We love it, but it's not Chicago pizza. Yeah. And then these idiots that put ham and pineapple on the pizza.
That was the Greeks. Whoa.
God, just don't call it pizza.
It could be, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of like pineapple on pizza, but I don't. But look, I don't. It's not like my go-to.
You moved out of California.
No, I'm not gonna order it.
Thank you.
But I'll eat it.
Well, I have ketchup on hot dogs, and my father, I know, does a quarter turn in his grave.
That's for kids.
I know. The first time he saw me put ketchup on hot dogs, he goes, "You're lucky you look like me. You really are, because there's no way you're my son. There's no way." But I can't help it. I was in New York years ago, and I tried to get mayonnaise for a corned beef. And the waitress kept walking by, and about the fourth time, I said, "My mayonnaise?" She goes, "I keep hoping you'll forget." And I said, "I can forget your tip." She threw it at me.
That's wild.
Now I can eat it with Thousand Island. I'm just not a mustard guy.
Yeah, and I was never a Reuben guy because of the Thousand Island. I love my corned beef or pastrami on Swiss, but that's all you need.
Sauerkraut?
I do like sauerkraut.
My wife loves sauerkraut. My wife loves German food.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm German, and
there's not a lot going on.
No, I can't get past the lederhosen. I really can't. I mean, it's hard to believe this country tried to take over the world.
I think there's a new idea here for a dress up. Maybe Oktoberfest is coming up. And I know you don't need the beer, but you could use the lederhosen.
Oh, that would be that's what the world wants to see.
You're a golfer. You could golf in lederhosen.
I could golf in lederhosen. Maybe.
I picked up golf about 15 years ago.
See, it was all a scam to get people to relax, and then they were going to conquer the world. One of these people, what are they going to do? And by the way, if you're into dressing up in lederhosen, don't email me. Okay. So anyway, White Alligator, are you open Mondays?
We're not. That's the only day we're closed.
Okay, so Tuesday.
We're open Tuesday through Saturday, 11 to 9.
When is the breakfast beignets coming? Now that I've given you the idea.
Well, what we're going to talk about is the new spot you were talking about. You wanted to help with.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to get that rolling.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, we'll see. There's more to come.
Yeah.
I think we just got our kind of head above water, and we're finally getting to breathe a little bit. So
see, people don't. I really don't think that. Walk them through your typical day.
So typical day. I mean, first you wake up and you look at the text messages that have already come in or emails. Every vendor, you got employees. People have problems, right? And so you're going to hear about all the problems first. It's a lot of, one thing my wife and I are trying to do is to not like wake up and first thing you experience is negative energy, whether it's turning on the news but you got to read the emails. You got business to take care of, but it's usually everybody wants something, and trying to balance that out. But so you're dealing with that. And as an owner, it's phone calls and emails.
And you care. And
you have to.
At the
end of the day,
that's what bothers me about the culture we live in, because there's such an animus towards successful people. But small business owners who got crushed during COVID, literally crushed. Yeah. It's almost as if they were trying to drive them all out of business. Yeah. To turn everything over to Amazon.
We took a huge hit.
Yeah.
But this is what we're good at it. And it's
but you lie awake at night thinking about your employees. Yeah. And taking care of them and making sure that they got a roof over their heads and things.
Yeah, oftentimes we'll put our employee needs before ours because that's what you do when you care about somebody.
And that's what angers me again when the finger gets pointed at business, especially small business is not Amazon.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not. It's a labor of love, and it's a lot of. And okay, so you got your text messages.
So you work, and then you get to the job itself, and then there's immediately boss. You got problems in the kitchen, and then this piece of equipment's not functioning properly, and there's 2 or 3 things every day, surprises, right? Yeah. But truly, what initially got me excited about cooking, and why I'm still delighted to be doing it today, despite all the headaches, is and I'm lucky because people actually like our food. Every day, I get that instant gratification. You create something, you hand it off, you hand off your product, and then immediately, that very same day, within minutes, someone looks at you and says, "Oh man, thanks. You made my day. This is great." Yeah. That human, like I did something. I made someone feel good.
Right. Well, think of Carolyn 3 nights in a row. Yeah. I mean, but that's the ultimate compliment.
That is.
Most people will eat a place once. But to come back 3 nights in a row.
Well, and then when I was...
And I'm like you. If I find something I like, I mean, Tammy says that to me because she gets mad at me because we'll get to a point, if we don't plan our dinner like at 8 or 9 in the morning, and it used to annoy me.
Why are we talking about this now?
Because she always says, what do you want for dinner? Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, it's 8 in the morning. But now I realize that if we don't plan, we wind up at 5 or 6 o'clock with nothing. Yeah. And then my go-to is, well, I'll go get some brisket, And she goes, "You always say that." I go, "Yeah, but it's simple.
It's really good.
And it's good." And then we lose the leftover biscuit for the next thing that annoys her because I'll go, "Well, I'll grill hamburgers."
Yeah. I love hamburgers.
Yeah, I do too, especially with brisket.
I know.
So we use the leftover brisket for the hamburger.
See, I've not done that. So you chop it up?
Yeah.
And you mix it in with the ground?
With the ground beef, yeah.
Oh, man.
Oh, my gosh.
See, I'm into that. Yeah. I didn't know that.
Well, I'll have you at the house, man. I got a new Traeger.
So I haven't gotten into the Traeger yet.
I 80% cook them on the Traeger, and then I sear them on my Kamada.
Have you ever made homemade pastrami?
No, but Tammy would. I wouldn't, but Tammy would.
But I know people with the Traeger, that's what they're doing now.
Really?
Oh, yeah. And there's something gratifying about making it yourself.
Oh.
And it may not be good, but if you keep trying it, then it will be.
If I didn't need Cialis, I might have got excited. You'd probably take that out, 123.22.
Do you really want me to take it out? It's really funny.
No, actually, leave it in now that we talked about it. If you're watching this, then obviously I lost the argument.
But also, this podcast is now sponsored by.
We could. Believe me, we could. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I didn't even know that. So what do you smoke it for how long?
Yeah, so you cure it, and you'll find tons. I won't tell you how to do it, but it's very simple. It's just a brine. You make a brine, then you rub it down with some black pepper, maybe a little fat, and then you smoke it. Slow, like a real low, slow smoke.
Yeah, and I know there's some people out there that Traeger's not really grilling, but what I like about it is that I can. Like I said, 80% of the cook. I haven't found a way to really sear stuff on it. I like a nice crust on my steak, so I can get my Kamada going at 800 degrees.
Yeah.
And then I don't have to worry about the cook. The cook is done on
and
the
the other thing
Traeger.
about that is with the big kettle grills, that's like, I mean, that takes time. It's just like the smoking, but I like charcoal grilling.
Really, you know, the hardwood?
I like hardwood. I don't have the apparatus right now. You know what I do have? I built a fire pit in my backyard. When we first moved into this neighborhood, I didn't realize that Nashville is like
You
on
can
this,
burn anything.
Well, and it's on this limestone.
We
table.
moved in. We were looking for our house. We didn't have GPS back in the 90s,
Yeah,
so
right.
we actually find it.
Yeah.
Anyway, people were burning a couch on their front lawn. I said, "Baby, we have found the holy grail. God has brought us to the promised land."
Yeah,
I just burned a pile of leaves and trees and stuff that we collected all summer. It was a huge fire, you know.
Yeah, but it's fun.
I love this place. You know.
So I made a fire pit and I got a little metal grill, and I do cook over the wood. I like that. We got all these hickory trees in the back.
Yeah.
And, I go back there and drag a log up and chop it up. I like, you like to be like that lumberjack kind of man every once in a while.
Well, you do.
Come on. I like that, but my kids, they don't like the really smoky wood grill flavor. I love it.
It is an acquired taste. I was worried about the tray. I've tried different hardwoods.
Yeah.
And I kind of like the.
But you like the pellet feeding. That takes a lot
easy.
of work out of it, right?
Yeah, there's no work.
Yeah.
I mean, I told Tam, I go, this is as close to cooking in an oven on your deck that you can get. So anyway, a friend of mine gave me a Kamado. I was at his house. It's basically like a green egg.
Yeah, right.
It's a porcelain. I've had it for years, to the point where I've replaced the hardware on it twice now. They're amazing.
Don't they weigh like 500 pounds?
Yeah, you can't move it around. I mean, it gets where it gets, and then you kind of leave it. And a matter of fact, winter's coming, I got to cover it up and stuff. But I still grill occasionally in the winter. But the Traeger has allowed me, and maybe we should reach out to them and see if they have an affiliate program.
I just looked it up.
Oh, don't they?
No, it's closed on
They're
me.
dead to me. Dead. Traeger is dead. So, but anyway, it was no brainer. I mean, it really is. You put the thermometer in the meat, you come out when it hits, we want a medium rare, so 125 to 130, somewhere in there, you pull it out, go down to the Kamado, and it's 800 degrees. It's just, and you turn it and come up. And my wife has said to me, especially buying the steaks at Sperry's Mercantile, the best steak you can buy retail that I've had. She said, we eat steaks all over the city.
Yeah.
And she said, you know what, the ones you make at home are every bit as good.
Yeah.
And the only thing is I like taking her out.
Right.
Because she's home all the time. I travel all the time. So
there's some great steakhouses in Nashville.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
And they keep growing.
I know.
It's like, and we keep, it's a new one.
Yeah.
I remember we went to Urban Grub first time. The owner was walking the room, and we had just like 2 weeks earlier or so. We have a change jar. We cash in every year and go to pretend we have money. Comes out to like $300 or $400 in change. So anyway, we cash it in, and we ate at Cane's Prime. Sure. And he told me, we sell Cane Prime, their meat. They have a butcher shop at Urban.
Oh, okay.
In the back, he took me to the back, showed me the aged beef and stuff, and so Urban is kind of our go-to steak in town. Yeah,
Urban's great. We took my son on his birthday, his 21st birthday, right? Big birthday. Yeah. We took him to Hall's Steakhouse. It's new. Oh. It's over by the Conrad. And they've got Hall's Seafood and Hall's Steak, and I knew nothing about it. But heard it was nice, made a reservation and went, and I mean, it was great. Highly recommend. Although when I went to reach for my wallet, it started laughing at me. And it was literally laughing. Yeah. But it was worth it. It was worth it. The big 21 for my son. But if you're into steakhouses, they did an exceptional job.
Oh, 21's a good age. I mean, I've been to expensive steakhouses. They got 8-year-olds sitting there.
Oh,
and I'm going, would you waste? Pick a guy up off the street and bring him in.
What about people?
Somebody can appreciate it.
I'm curious about your opinion on this because it bothers me, and I feel like it shouldn't. People that take their 2 and 3-year-olds on these international trips, like overseas to exotic locations, they'll tour them around Japan, and I'm thinking 3 years old.
Right. And then years from now, they're going to go, you never take me anywhere.
You never take
we
me
have
anywhere.
pictures right here, you know. And
Don't
the fact that you don't remember is not
Don't
on
you
me.
remember?
You know?
I know people are like, oh, but the experience you have with your children is like, I would have more fun touring Japan, I think, with just my wife than
Absolutely.
with a couple of
Than
toddlers.
toddlers,
You
right.
know, but
Yeah, we were on, I do a lot of shows. Matter of fact, I'm going to Orlando in December, the Funny Bone. And I guarantee you in December, the plane will be packed with grandparents and their grandkids.
Yeah.
And that to me is, we've wanted to do that, but then we have issues with Disney. You know?
yeah. Yeah.
You know, and then on top of that, it's
as you should.
$25,000 to, you know, I'd rather put 25 grand in somebody else's pocket.
Yeah, we did Disney.
I'd have a tour of Cajun restaurant with my grandchildren. That would be fun.
Yeah, well, I know one.
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, this has been fun.
Yeah, it has.
I got to wrap it up. I'm going to go look for a car. And, so White Alligator. I keep saying White
White
Gator.
Gal?
I want to say White Gator.
I thought you were like white gals.
White Gal.
Yeah,
White Gal. That's a great restaurant.
Yeah.
You know, exclusive. You know, and it's White Alligator in the factory. Again, if you come to Nashville, first of all, you got to go to the factory anyway. I've said this for years, the final resting place of the Industrial Revolution
Yeah.
will be foodies.
Yeah, it is a true destination.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It is. It's worth coming out. And good on you for getting in. You know, it's not easy now.
No, man, that was interesting. They didn't like my first pitch because I initially pitched them.
So they have to approve you.
Oh yeah, I initially pitched them. There's a lot of people that wanted to get in this space.
Well, that eliminates the whole greedy capitalist.
But get this,
just let anybody in.
Right. I pitched them the beignet concept, just beignets, right? Coffee and beignets, and they shot it down. They didn't like it. So I said, wait. I got one more idea. I wanted to do a real New Orleans joint. You know, classy but casual with a big full bar program, a real New Orleans experience. And they said, well, okay, actually, why don't you come on in, we'll meet you. And they liked it.
Yeah,
and
tell me you don't have Dixieland jazz there.
No, there's
Thank you.
I'll tell you this.
That was my one complaint about New Orleans. It's like, you know, after 3 days, you know, on Bourbon Street with that Dixieland jazz. Okay, man, I got
It'll
it.
wear you out.
Yeah, it does.
You're not going to see any cliches at my place. There's no Mardi Gras beads on the wall. There's no, Dixieland jazz.
Well, beads, how do you get the women to go like that?
Well, there's other ways. There's other ways, Jeff.
Oh my gosh.
No, I'm kidding.
I'm liking your place already. You know?
Man.
I mean, for catfish, I might. Like, it was that good.
Yeah, it was that good. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, so how big is your menu?
You know, it's like most places these days, it's smaller. If I go in a restaurant, I'm flipping pages.
That's it. Because I had a friend that was ran an Italian restaurant, and that's all they cooked. They had one sheet.
Yeah.
And
Otherwise,
they had their staples.
Yeah.
And then about every 2 or 3 weeks, the chef would cook something different and something. Yeah. And he said, if you go into a place and like Cheesecake Factory,
right?
He said the food will never be great because they have too many things. So to learn to do one thing well,
right?
You know, and then grow from there. So I'm glad to hear that. I'd hate to think you got a novel in there. You know,
I'll tell you this: our freezer is the smallest appliance we have in the building, and it holds
so
shrimp because shrimp are frozen. That's the only way to transport shrimp. But shrimp and potatoes, everything else is fresh. Daily deliveries, all of our seasonings, all of our sauces. Really? We make everything from scratch.
Wow,
it's great, but that's the way to do it, and there's no excuse not to do it anymore because you can literally get daily deliveries from numerous. You know, we have
but
to.
It affects your bottom line. I mean, to do it fresh and to do it well.
It takes a little.
And that's
more.
what happens when people sell.
Yeah.
To corporations. Yeah. They go, why are you using fresh seafood when we could use frozen seafood?
Didn't you know this farm-raised stuff from India, which is full of iodine and heavy metals, is cheaper?
Right.
No, I didn't know that.
I didn't either. I get my Cialis from India. So.
I hear it works.
That's a joke, by the way. No, I get it. It's generic now, actually. So
Kirkland's must make a Cialis.
I didn't even think of that.
They must.
My gosh, you know what? That's something Costco can get into. You know?
They call it Kirkland's.
That's great, Rob. I'm telling you, man, I had a blast. I hope you had fun.
I did. Thank you for having me. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to tell my story.
Yeah, and it's a good one. It's fatherly love, uncle love, and the bottom line is, on this show we like to lean into faith if we can with each guest. So, in most people's walks are as unique as human beings are. So, good on you, man. And you seem like you got a blessed life with. Surrounded by love, which is
That's right.
really what it is.
And trying to remember that and give it back.
Yeah, and then to pour that into a cuisine is wonderful. We will be there, my wife and I, probably sooner than you think, because, and again, we don't eat a lot of spicy food, but
well, there's not a lot of it's our food traditionally, Cajun Creole food's not overspiced. That's something that
really
I think, yeah. That's why you always have hot sauce on the table. I mean, I think that's been just kind of, it's more of part of the fable, the tall tale of, Cajun and Creole culture, spicy food. There's spices,
right?
But if you're sweating, it's probably too hot.
Well, if I'm sweating, I'm ill. I have a fever if I'm sweating. I don't like to sweat. So thank you very much, man, for coming on. I appreciate it.